our war on terror begins with Al-Qaeda, but it does
On
not
September
end there.
20th, 2001, President
not
George
end
W.
until
Bush
every
declared war on
terrorist
terror,
group
a
of
global
global
effort to
reach
eliminate terrorist
has been
forces in
found,
response to the Al-Qaeda militant
stopped,
attacks.
What followed was 8 years of brutal conflict in Iraq, leaving countless innocent civilians scattered across the Middle East.
They sought out asylum in refugee camps, poor excuses for safety by our standards.
Our camera offers a glimpse into refugee camps, exposing their conditions and importance, while also discovering the difference between refugees and internally displaced persons.
Maybe hidden within these camps is the solution to modern conflict and the solution to the endless war on refugees. Worldwide, there are over 30 million refugees. A refugee is a person who has been forced to leave their country in order to escape war, persecution, or natural disaster. This noun represents over 1.4 million Iraqis who fled into neighboring countries like Iran, Syria, and Saudi Arabia.
Another 1.3 million Iraqis are classified as internally displaced persons, also abbreviated as IDP.
An internally displaced person is someone who is forced to flee his or her home, but who remains within his or her country's borders. IDPs
are misinterpreted as refugees, but until they navigate across the border, they're considered internally displaced persons.
Many refugees seek asylum in refugee camps. Refugee camps are a shelter for persons displaced by war or political oppression or for religious beliefs.
The camps are much safer than the conflict outside of them, but still, life can be hard there. Unlike the grocery store, food isn't plentiful, and goldfish aren't on the menu. Instead, these refugees receive bitter yellow packets of food, which they must wait for hours, even days for. These food packets were called humanitarian daily rations,
and are developed by the UNHCR, a division of the UN which specializes in refugees. The quality of these camps are often dependent upon their location. Wealthier countries can provide better resources, although poor countries often receive assistance from organizations like the UN and UNICEF. The peace is also sometimes severed by violence.
Because the camps are welcoming to anyone from either side, conflict sometimes emerges between people. Consequences include beatings, assassination, and overall intimidation. Female refugees have been forced to hide their gender to avoid abuse, death, or rape.
Haima, a 14-year-old refugee, has already begun to raise her first baby.
Taking care of children is difficult, especially if you're in a refugee camp.
These children lack the opportunities we take for granted, like an education, tasty food, or even clean water. They may never see their homeland again. If they do return, all there may be is a pile of ash and a goat. As war continues to inflict violence on the innocent, hope begins to evaporate into thin air. Unfortunately, a number of these camps are becoming permanent, and millions of people are no longer calling it shelter, but home.
You can help reduce the number by donating to local charities. Money, clothes, water, anything can help. You can save a child.
You can make a difference.
You can end the war on refugees. Another 1.3 million darn it.
Oh, and refugees like Najma are strong.
Are we just saying this stuff to fill up time?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.